All right, guys, so now that 2024 is officially here, it looks like the Biden campaign actually kicked into gear in the sense that they are doing some kind of campaigning. Now, is it a little too late? Well, yeah, I think so. His approval rating is 33% in some polls. It's super low, so we probably should have gotten a head start on doing this whole campaigning thing. But having said that, they released a slate of new ads, and I want to share them with you here. So first, let's start with this one. Joe Biden tweeted, "I don't agree with Nikki Haley on everything, but we agree on this much. She is not Nancy Pelosi." So what is he referring to? He's referring to Trump in a rally speech made a very silly mistake repeatedly, and they cut an ad over it. Let's watch.
Last night, Trump is at a rally.
You know, Nikki Haley.
And he's going on and on mentioning me multiple times as to why I didn't handle January 6th better.
Nikki Haley is in charge of security. We offered her 10,000 people. They don't want to talk about that.
I wasn't in office then. They're saying he got confused.
You have voter ID to buy a loaf of bread? You have ID to buy a loaf of bread? What is? I'm driving over a road where it's almost all paper. And, you know, you can see paper. I know paper. I know cans. But all the time now we see whales washing up on shore because of the wind. Our veterans don't have cell phones, do they?
He got confused. He got confused and said he was running against Obama. He never ran against Obama.
And we did with Obama. We won an election that everyone said couldn't be won.
Obama he doesn't want to talk about it.
Well, you mean President Biden. So,
Don't put our country at risk like this.
I'm Joe Biden, and I approve this message.
Woo! So he kept saying in this speech, like, Nikki Haley was responsible for security. I offered her 10,000 troops. It was Nikki Haley. When he meant to say it was Nancy Pelosi. And then there's, a bunch of the other gaps there. My favorite one is you have to show ID to buy a loaf of bread. You have to show ID to buy a loaf of bread. When he says it, he repeats it to have a lot of intent behind his words. Like, no, ID, bread, you need it. No, you don't. No, you don't. So the point that the Biden team is making here is look, they're aware of their weakness. They're aware of Biden's weakness. He's 1,000 years old. He barely knows where he is. He can hardly get through a sentence. His cognition is not on point. And so what they're trying to do is make this issue a wash. They're trying to say, yeah, okay, our guy, he's old. He has some senior moments, no doubt about it. But so does this guy. And also, by the way, this guy is charged with 91 crimes, and this guy tried to overthrow the election, and this guy's a psychopath, and this guy quotes Hitler, and all that other stuff, right? So it's like, who are you going to go with? The senile guy who's not quoting Hitler, or the senile guy who is quoting Hitler? We'll leave it to you. So they're trying to make it a wash. Honestly, that's not a bad strategy. Because here's the thing. With Trump, the reason why he gets away more so with his gaffes than Biden does is because he's got more life in him, right? He's more charismatic. The way he talks has more intentionality to it. And if you have more intentionality, you can get away with a lot just because you sound sure of yourself. You sound like you have control of the situation and the sentence, and you're nailing it even though you're not nailing it. Just the sound of, I got this shit, is enough to make people go, oh, I know what he meant. You know what I mean? But with Biden, he just sounds like a meandering old man, so people immediately think oh, this is dark. This is not good. But to highlight Trump's gaffes is a way of being like, no, don't forget. This guy's lost multiple steps as well, as you can see. Okay, so that, not a bad strategy. Now, let me show you this other ad, new Biden campaign ad. Watch this.
I'm an OBGYN in Texas and a mother of 3 wonderful children. Having this beautiful, messy, chaotic, but wonderful family, it's the joy of my life. I never thought that I would need an abortion for a planned pregnancy, but I did. 2 years ago, I became pregnant with a baby I desperately wanted. At a routine ultrasound, I learned that the fetus would have a fatal condition and that there was absolutely no chance of survival. In Texas, you are forced to carry that pregnancy, and that is because of Donald Trump overturning Roe v. Wade. The choice was completely taken away. I was to continue my pregnancy, putting my life at risk. It's every woman's worst nightmare, and it was absolutely unbearable. We need leaders that will protect our rights and not take them away. And that's Joe Biden and Kamala Harris.
I'm Joe Biden, and I approve this message.
Look, on that one, they understand the Republican weakness of abortion. They understand that this one issue has really been hurting them bad. I would say that and the election denialism are the two things that normie Americans and independents are like, sorry, I just can't go with you there. This is too extreme. This is too far. And they're aware of the trend in the previous elections, and they're really leaning into, just remember, This guy's responsible for taking away abortion rights, and this guy's responsible for the extremist position of many states in this country that now this is the law in a lot of these states. Now this is the law. So this was inspired by, as Alex Thompson points out here, this was inspired by the ad that ran in Kentucky last year where Andy Bashir crushed his Republican rival because he leaned into this issue. Watch.
I was raped by my stepfather after years of sexual abuse. I was 12. Anyone who believes there should be no exceptions for rape and incest could never understand what it's like to stand in my shoes. This is to you, Daniel Cameron. To tell a 12-year-old girl she must have the baby of her stepfather who raped her is unthinkable. I'm speaking out because women and girls need to have options. Daniel Cameron would give us none.
Again, Andy Bashir crushed his Republican opponent, Cameron. I'm forgetting his first name. She just said it. So they're trying. They learned, right? Now, again, Biden's approval rating is down at 33%. Horrible, horrible, horrible. Lower than Jimmy Carter was before Jimmy Carter got blown out. He's losing Arab Americans and Muslim Americans and young people and Latinos, and he slipped massively with black people. So he's in rough shape, but they are kind of coming out swinging more so than I thought, which is like probably a desperate attempt to try to make this thing competitive again, because I think they're smart enough to know right now they're not the favorite. If the election was today, Biden would lose. So are they going to be able to do enough? I don't know, man. To me, you guys all know, I think the cardinal sin is backing Netanyahu as he does a genocide in Israel. Giving them money, giving them weapons, watching them carpet bomb babies. That's the cardinal sin. And then the other one is letting the COVID pandemic era expansions of the social safety net go away, because that means people are struggling more economically. And there was a big downturn in the polls when that happened. So unless he addresses those two things, I don't know, man. I still think Trump's a favorite. Do I think it's over? No, because Trump has 91 criminal charges and he's still doing election denialism. And, you know, he's not liked. Trump is liked by his base, but just his base, right? So independents, not really buying it. But it's like, this is one of those elections where it's like, who can be hated the least? That's the goal here. And they're trying. So I think these are two pretty decent ads. And I'm curious to see what else they got cooking up, because this was coming out a little stronger than I expected. Hey, y'all, do me a favor and like and subscribe. It helps out big time in the algorithm. Click the bell as well for notifications when videos drop, and watch that video on screen right now. You know you want to.